Nationwide, there are two trends we are seeing that are impacting your children today and potentially into the future. Thank you for staying with us. At 5, I'm Brian Abel.
And I'm Glenda Lewis. COVID-19 has led to early retirements or staff absences due to illness, leaving many children without a teacher in the classroom on many days.
In New Mexico, the governor responded to a lack of school staff by calling in the National Guard last week.
The shortage of teachers could get worse. A Learning Policy Institute survey recently found nearly half of teachers said they had considered changing jobs within the last month.
7 Action News reporter Kim Russell takes an in-depth look at some ideas of how our lawmakers could help if they choose to.
This is the scene in Santa Fe, New Mexico.
We have classes that are just sitting in gyms.
The National Guard responded to a massive teacher and substitute shortage caused by COVID-19 cases to keep schools open as teachers are stretched thin.
We have kids emailing, begging for help.
Now, 7 Action News has learned that as Omicron surged in Michigan, some asked Governor Whitmer if she too could call in the National Guard to help keep schools open. She chose to temporarily allow school employees and others without the typically required college credits to sub. Her office says 98% of schools are open for in-person learning and provided WXYZ with a statement saying, in part, to help keep schools open, Governor Whitmer signed into law the largest K-12 investment in our state's history, which could be used to hire additional staff or fill other critical needs.
Education is not just something that you can come in and do.
Hazel Park Superintendent Dr. Amy Krupe understands the decision to not call in the National Guard, but there have been days of crisis.
We had almost 77 staff members, including teachers out. That's a quarter of our staff.
Unlike some districts, hers has managed to stay open this month. She's calling on state lawmakers to take action to help.
One of the greatest stressors that we know that we hear from our teachers is the teacher evaluation and the growth component of that teacher evaluation.
It's hectic, right? I may have, for instance, I was at an elementary school yesterday, and the principal had been teaching PE that day.
Rochester Community Schools Superintendent Dr. Robert Shaner agrees. He says principals will somehow comply with the law and evaluate teachers in person, grading them on whether they have 40% student academic growth unless the law changes.
But we have to ask ourselves, should we be focused on the classroom and supporting our staff and our students, and most importantly, our students? Or should we be focused on an act of compliance that honestly is only an act of compliance?
What we are experiencing now is an acute problem, a shortage of staff due to the pandemic. But State Superintendent Dr. Michael Rice says it's a sample of what we could experience long term.
We will emerge from a pandemic. It is likely that we will not emerge from a teacher shortage as quickly.
State Superintendent Dr. Michael Rice says the numbers show the problem. In the 2013-2014 school year, 4,720 people in Michigan completed teacher education programs. 6 years later, the number dropped to less than half of that, only 2,258.
What we produce in the state is not enough to serve the state, number one. What we recruit from out of state is similarly not enough to serve the state.
He says the Michigan Department of Education sent a request to lawmakers asking for $300 to $500 million to spend on teacher recruitment over the next 5 years. It would fund scholarships, teacher internship stipends, and tuition reimbursement. It could fund programs to ease restrictions on out-of-state teacher licenses and help parents attend college to become teachers with childcare reimbursement. Dr. Rice says the passage is urgently needed within the next 2 months.
We need to get the word out that there's nothing better than changing the life of a student, making a difference, watching them grow up, see them walk across the stage and know that you've been a part of it.
Kim Russell, 7 Action News.
And we have more information about the teacher shortage and a link to Kim's story right now on WXYZ.com.